now that we've talked about the Sidetrac shad, let's talk about the Sidetrac mud puppy. This is a bait. As you can see, it basically has got some resemblance to other stick type baits, but you also see that it's got a different configuration on the head, and the main thing, it's got the same appendage as a Sidetrac shad. This bait does everything the Sidetrac shad will do, but it's got some other features that make it just a deadly bait in dead stick mode. But first of all, again, if that appendage is on the left side of the shank of the hook, you can make this bait track to the right. And it's even more exaggerated tracking than the shad when you use the twitch and pause action. And one thing I didn't mention a while ago is that if this bait is tracking to the right, you want to hold your rod tip to the left. If it's tracking to the left, you want to hold your rod tip to the right. And that applies to all three baits. But the other thing that this bait does, that the shad will basically, the shad will do this, but it does not just, it doesn't do for me what it, what this bait does. This bait here is my go-to bait right now in the springtime, especially bedding fish or post-spawn, pre-spawn, when the fish are in basically around shallow vegetation, shallow grass, shallow brush. What I've done is, again, I've hooked this bait in what we call the horizontal position. See, the action maker is actually under the hook. And what happens is, when this bait goes to the bottom, it goes down head first. It kind of sits there and maybe slowly sinks down. And when you twitch it with just a little popping action, and I fish this on a 16 or 7 foot medium action spinning rod with a fast tip, and it pops it off bottom. It does a double back flip, spins around, goes in every direction, and about 70% of the time it tracks away from me. And I can keep it on a bed, I can keep it around a stump a lot longer than any bait that I've ever fished in my life. But again, like the Sidetrac shad, it'll just basically what we call, I guess we'd say, fish conventional Sidetrac series, which would be track left, track right. But when you fish this in a dead stick mode, it is just an absolutely awesome bait. And one thing I didn't mention too is that you see the little appendages on the side of this bait, and one of the reasons they're there, cosmetically, they make it look like a water dog or a mud puppy. But when this is a again, offset wide gap worm hook, and the hook just goes into that little appendage. And when you set the hook, it just does like that. It pops out, and you very rarely miss a fish. Again, this is a bait that I fished a lot this past spring, and it's just an awesome bait, and it's going to be my go-to bait in springtime fishing. Again, this is what we call a vertical hooking setup, and when we hook it for the dead stick motion or mode, that's what we call horizontal hooking. And again, it looks like this. And I think you'll enjoy fishing this lure.